Another beautiful day, another exciting, educative, informative episode of Batanya coming your way from the studios of City Star TV. My name is Nanaya and I am your host. I always remind you, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Hit the notification bell and follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. The name is City Star TV. So, for the previous episodes, we've been talking about sex and pregnancy, and we are here on part three of the very same topic. Today, we are going to talk about when not to have sex. When not to have sex. Yes, I've said in the previous episodes that yes, it is advisable and it's completely safe to have sex. However, there are certain situations and circumstances that prevent you from having sex because it might lead to complications during your pregnancy. So when I'm about to give you a list of criteria that when you are in this criteria, or if you have any of the following things I'm about to list, then you can absolutely not have sex with your partner. So these are the reasons why you cannot have sex with your partner. Now, point number one, you cannot have sex with your partner if you are at risk for a miscarriage or you have history of miscarriages. So unfortunately, and I wish this on nobody, but sometimes your doctor can best give you the reasons why or the circumstances surrounding it. But sometimes, unfortunately and sadly, some mothers go through multiple miscarriages or they have miscarriages. They've had miscarriages, one or a few of them. And if you're somebody prone to this or you've experienced this before, or even if it's your first pregnancy, but you've been to the hospital, you've been to antenatal care, and you've been told that your baby or your pregnancy is in a situation that you can miscarry easily, then please, 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 I'm sure they would have informed you that you need to stay away from sex with your partner. Now, this just don't something happen. Let me address this before you even continue with the point. Now, if you've been told in the hospital that you're supposed to abstain from sex, ask for clarity on this, because not only are they talking about sex with your partner as in just the practice, the act, it also applies to any kind of orgasm, stimulation, anything that would lead you to orgasm, because it's not just the penetration that they're telling you to stay away from. So if you've been to the hospital and they told you to stay away from sex, but you come home and you have oral sex with your partner and you get your orgasms, sometimes please go back and talk to your OBGYN, talk to your midwife, talk to your doctor about this, because sometimes when they tell you to abstain from sex, they mean everything sexual. Anything that can cause you excitement sexually, that can lead you to orgasms or contractions. So please get clarification of that. On that is very, very, very important. Now, let me go back to my first point. You cannot have sex with your partner if you're prone to miscarriages or you have a history of miscarriages, or you've been informed that your pregnancy is there are circumstances that can lead you to miscarry that pregnancy. Then please know that you're supposed to abstain from sex. And these are information your midwife, your OBGYN, or your doctor will give to you when you go to the hospital. Point number two, you also cannot have sex with your partner if you're at risk for preterm labor. So, you have about 36 weeks for your baby to be matured enough. After a certain number of weeks, yes, you can give birth to your baby. I think 7 months, so that should be 28 to 30 weeks. You can give birth to your baby and there's a higher chance your baby can survive. However, some parents, some pregnancies can be tricky and you'll be told that you need to carry your baby to term. Or sometimes, unfortunately, for reasons science can best explain, some mothers tend to go into preterm labor at a very early stage. That's why it's called preterm, because you're not at your full term yet. So you go into preterm labor. Some can go as early as 4 months, 5 into their 5th month, 20 weeks. I'm talking 20 weeks, 16 to 20 weeks, and they start having contractions. Please, if you're at risk of preterm labor, if you've been told this at the hospital that you're at risk for preterm labor, then I'm here to tell you that no, you cannot have sex with your partner no matter how much you want to. And it's not just sex. Please know that orgasm can induce contractions. Yes, in terms, orgasms can give you contractions, can induce contraction. So please and please, if you've been told you are at risk for preterm labor, you cannot be having sex or be doing anything that causes you excitement sexually. So point number 3 also is you cannot have sex with your partner if you're having any sort of discharge or cramps or pain that you have no idea what's causing them. Because for all you know, yes, sometimes some of you can be very vigorous in your sexual activities, and this can cause you to bleed, and this can cause you to have discharges, and this can cause you to have cramps. Know that when you're pregnant, you cannot be doing this kind of really, really active sex. You need to take your time. You need to be safe. You need to be gentle with yourself and your baby. Even aside, if you're not having sex and it's not causing this, but you are seeing any kind of discharge, any bleeding, any cramps, you bring to the hospital, please, in the meantime, stay away from having sex. Just stay away from having sex with your partner until everything has been resolved and the doctor says it's safe again to have sex with your partner. Now, my next point is, if you've been to the hospital and your OBGYN or your midwife have told you that based on tests and scans they've run on you, your placenta is too low, this is where you have to actually be worrying about if your baby daddy's, your partner can actually cause any harm, because yes, this time your partner might be able to cause harm. So if you've been told at the hospital that your placenta is too low, I'm sure they would have told you right there and then that you need to stay away from having sex with your partner. You need to stop anything that causes you any kind of sexual excitement. You just need to stop any sort of practice. Penetration is so not advisable. So please, if your placenta, you've been informed your placenta is too low, sex is not for you during this pregnancy. And then another point, and my final point for this is, if you're expecting twins, triplets, multiple babies, yes, I think you'll be told at the hospital, maybe that during the first early stages, you might not, but after your 3rd month, after your first trimesters, and then you'll be advised to stay away from sex when your babies are developing. Especially if you have multiple babies, more than triplets, you'll be told to stay away from sex. And when they tell you, please do. Because it's not easy bringing multiple babies into this world. They come with their own complications that can be worse than if you practice sex as well, or any kind of excitement and all that. So please know this. And when should you call your doctor if you've had sex? There are certain things that happens after you've had sex. Then the minute you see them, you need to know that you have to call your doctor about it. And these are things I'm about to tell you. Now you've had sex. You don't have any of the things I've said previously. So you've not been told you are at risk of preterm labor, you're not having any miscarriages, none of the things I've listed that's happened to you. And you're having safe sex with your partner, but then you've had sex and you've been experiencing pain. You've had sex and then you're bleeding. You've had sex and then you had discharge afterwards. You started discharging. You don't know where the fluid is coming from. You've had sex and you had significant discomfort. You've had sex and then you went through contractions. So I said 5 things. You've had sex and then you were bleeding. You've had sex and then you had discharges. You had sex and then you had pain. You had sex, you had significant discomfort. You had sex and then you had contractions. Please, these 5 things I just said, call your doctor immediately. Go to the hospital right there and then. And please, in the meantime, until it's resolved and your doctor tells you it is safe again, stay away from sex. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I hope you have been educated and informed enough. And please pay attention to all this. Follow up with your doctors and your OBGYNs. Get more information and education on all of these. Subscribe. Don't miss out on other educative episodes as well as this one. Follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. My name is Anaya and I am your host.